Iowa students lead a protest against Governor Kim Reynolds to her face at an award ceremony.
Marin Pettigrew, Newton. Leo Friedman, Newton. Clementine Springsteen, Davenport West.
Davenport West High School senior Clementine Springsteen had planned to quietly accept her Iowa Governor's Scholar Certificate from Governor Kim Reynolds on Sunday, but she couldn't stay quiet. Instead, Springsteen, who was a transgender woman, walked across the stage wearing a pink, white, and light blue tie to represent the transgender flag and pins that read, "Trans rights are human rights, she, her." As she reached out to shake the hand of the governor and also Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg, then as Iowa's two top officials turned away, Springsteen said loudly, "Trans rights are human rights." An Iowa Events Center video captured the entire episode. While Springsteen's message was meant for Reynolds, by Monday night, it had been heard by tens of thousands of people as clips of her statement and the protest of Newton High School seniors Marin Pettigrew and Leo Friedman made the rounds on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. The protest comes as Iowa has passed a ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors and other legislation that advocates say is some of the most restrictive in the nation, targeting the LGBTQ+ community. In addition, lawmakers passed an education bill that, once signed into law, will make it easier to ban books and curb LGBTQ+ instruction in public schools. It's an interesting moment, and I love the protest. I love when we complain about social media, this is the jewel gem of social media. When I was in high school, if that exact moment would have happened, no one would have ever heard of it. No one would have ever seen it, because unless television or a newspaper reported it, you didn't know it happened. And now we see everything, which I love. I also love the shirt about the book bans. Can't let that go by in front of the governor. And the other thing that I think is really interesting here is this governor has been one of the most repressive, anti-progressive in the country. Not the same headlines of Tennessee, Texas, and that guy in that state, Florida, I think it is, but almost equally horrific.
Yeah.
And so to have the yell right to your face, trans rights are human rights, well deserved.
And you talk about social media. I met someone through TikTok that I'm actually very close with now. They're one of my mods on TikTok. Their name's Emma Mitchell. They're the executive director of Iowa Queer Student Union, which led protests statewide, massive protests against their Don't Say LGBT law that was introduced last year and then was reintroduced this year. And let me tell you, high school students and students in general in Iowa are just showing up and showing out at that gorgeous Capitol building. I'm so jealous of it every time I see pictures, because ours looks like a you know what. But they're really showing up in Iowa, and I'm just.
What does it look like?
It's
no, just kidding.
Tell us. That was good. I like.
What are you, 12?
Yes. I love when you noted the thing about, with social media changing all this. Like, there was a streaker at my college graduation. Like, that's like what, and I'm happy no one caught that on film, right? But like, this is, the power of this kind of protest is so transformative. And, I'm going to sound like I'm a zillion years old, but the kids are all right. Like, that is like, thank God for the youth. That is who are stepping up and advancing rights for all of us. That is understanding the centrality of it all.
But let's also remember, this is the middle of America at its core. Mm-hmm. I'm more impressed by the parents who have brought up those kids to have the balls and the backbone to show up to a ceremony, because for a lot of those kids, that ceremony is the peak of their life. Now, a lot of them are going to go to school. They're going to go do whatever they're going to do in life.
Right.
But I'm pretty pleased that their parents didn't say, you're not wearing that. Go wash your face.
Yeah.
Put on something nicer. Because my parents would have been like, no.
Yeah.
You're going to get your ass kicked in front of the whole class. No.
Yeah. One last thought. I'm curious of what you think in terms of this form of protest. You see a student wear a shirt about book bans. You see the protest for trans embracement for this honor student, and then the yell at the governor.
Powerful.
It is powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
At this time last year, we began to report on some of the stories that were happening in Winter Park. In my hometown of Sarasota, Pine View's valedictorian speech of doing the metaphor about his red hair was a representation of why I can't talk about it because of my red hair.
Curly hair.
His curly hair. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. The curly hair. Exactly. And is it a difference a year makes in that as opposed to a sophisticated metaphor protest that, no, we're going to get right to it and we're going to shove it in your face? Is this what we're watching over a year?
I don't think we have time anymore to be cute and subtle about it. I think we have to be
Direct
broad.
action.
Well, the reality of the curly hair thing is with Xander Morick is that he was going to talk about it, and the reason that he had to do the curly hair thing is because his principal threatened to cut his mic, right? Because he wanted to talk about that. So sometimes young people have to get creative.
Well, and also, listen, the element of surprise is best, right?
Well,
protests are not supposed to be announced. Protests are supposed to be delivered in the space, and that's where the magic is with it. And I love it that these kids are just like, they're digging deep and they're just so open-minded. They're so open and accepting of each other. They're showing up for themselves and probably finally listening to all of us who have been telling them, this is your future.
Yeah.
I could go and
better
retire.
fight. Yeah.
You fight.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be okay.
Right. All right. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.